on both. So hello, this is John Paval with Access Arts Live. I'm here with the special Sunday edition because there's so much going on this Sunday, and I wanted to remind you about all the great stuff we have going on so you don't miss it in case you want to. I mean, it's starting at 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern Daylight Time, which is 7 in the morning on the West Coast, and 4 in the afternoon here in Europe. There are 5, 6 live streams, one after the other, of high quality live chamber music and classical music of different times. So I want to get right to it to start telling you about all the great stuff we have going on. And the first thing we have on the schedule today, I believe, is this group. This is, hold on just a second. I'm winging this one. Okay. This one is the Delphine Trio, which is a clarinet trio of a clarinetist from Australia, a cellist from the Netherlands, a pianist from South Africa. They've been together since they got their MAs together at the Royal College of Music, and then were named as Junior Fellows, which is a special distinction, back in 2020. And they have an album on the Dutch label TRPTK called Adrift. They'll be doing RowlandJones' trio for clarinet, piano, and cello, followed by Beethoven's clarinet trio in E flat. And they are devoted to commissioning and playing more and more music for the clarinet trio. Okay, so that's at, let me double check that time for you again, and we will give you the links. This is on YouTube. It's at 4 o'clock European time. It's actually 3 o'clock in London as part of the St. Mary's Perivale recitals, which makes it 10 in the morning on the East Coast, 7 in the morning on the West Coast. And if you stay up late till midnight, you can see it in Australia, where it will be midnight. Okay, following close on their heels, just an hour later, I don't know if they'll be done in an hour, but I think they will. Then we go to the Eglise Eustache in Paris, with the largest pipe organ in France being played by Francois Olivier, who has been the resident organist for the choir at Saint Eustache Church since 2004. And the last time he did one of these recitals, the International Online Organ Festival recommended it as one of the best live streams of that month. So we can commend that to you. They do excellent camera work there at Saint Eustache. I will be there in person next week at Saint Eustache and be doing a little live streaming before and after the concert, if you want to tune into that. I tried doing this this past Thursday with a live stream here in Stockholm by the Royal Stockholm Phil, and it was a lot of fun. Okay, next after that, here in Europe at 8 o'clock European time, which will be 7 o'clock in London, 2 in the afternoon on the East Coast, 11 in the morning on the West Coast. The Leeds International Piano Competition continues on YouTube, free of charge. And there's a great gang of people that tune into both the Leeds piano competition and St. Mary's Perivale, who they all know each other. And so we have a great time in the chat room talking to each other. So if you log on, do come into the chat room and say hello to Access Arts Live and thank us for letting you know about it. Anyway, they're in their semifinals now, so there'll be two competitors. Con Ni Luong will be playing Beethoven's Sonata Number 31 in A flat major. He'll also be playing Kate Whitley's 5 piano pieces, and he'll be playing Fauré's Violin Sonata Number 1 in A major. And what's curious about that is that I thought this is a piano competition, so I'm not sure how he ends up playing what's called a violin sonata on their YouTube program page, but tune in and find out if somebody made a mistake. Okay, that'll be followed by Tomoharu Ushida. Lots of Asians in this competition because they, to get in the competition, you had to audition back in March and April, and they were auditioning people both in Seoul, Korea, and in Beijing, as well as in places like New York and in Europe. So then Tomoharu is going to also be playing Kate Whitley's 5 piano pieces. So you get a chance to hear 2 aspiring musicians play the same piece. Then he'll play Schubert's Sonata Number 21 in B flat major, And Amy Beach's, that should be really good. Amy Beach's stuff is always so good. Amy Beach, the American composer. Amy Beach's Piano Quintet in F sharp minor. And that's what we have coming at you from Europe. But when that's all done, then we move back over to the American side of the ocean for those Europeans who might want to stay up late. And St. David's Music Series in Baltimore is live streaming a group called Friends of Early Music. And really, it's 3 people from the Baltimore Consort, which is one of the top early music ensembles in the United States. And they'll be playing a concert called Gut, Wind, and Wire. Now, let me get back to, I left that picture up for you the whole time. Sorry about that. I'm still here. Let me show you the program of the online discography for Gut, Wind, and Wire, which is referring to the component parts of early music instruments, like the lute and the viola da gamba and things like this. So if you're watching this, you can take a screenshot of this. This is what is described as the contents of Gut, Wind, and Wire on the Baltimore Consort website. And what you'll see it's all kinds of early American music. And this is a trio of Mark Kudek, who used to head the historical performance department at Peabody Conservatory at Johns Hopkins. Ron McFarland, a highly experienced and accomplished lute player with a lot of recordings to his name. Mindy Rosenfeld, who's been playing with the San Francisco Philharmonia Baroque Orchestra for decades now. Okay, so that's at, I think I already gave you the time. I'll give it to you again. That's at 4 in the afternoon, Eastern Daylight Time, 1 in the afternoon on the West Coast. And that would make it what time in Europe? That would make it 10 o'clock in the evening in Europe if some of you Europeans want to have a late evening experience of classic folk music on original early instruments. Next up, we're not done yet. There's 2 more. Okay, next up, there's another, it's billed as an organ recital at University of Puget Sound, which is way out in Washington. Northwest Washington State in the U.S. That's at 2 in the afternoon Pacific time, which makes it 5 o'clock in the evening on the East Coast, 11 o'clock in the evening for those in Europe, and it's already early morning then down under in Australia if you want to get up at 7 in the morning. This is their annual Bethel Schneebeck organ recital. Now, the thing about this is it's Wyatt Smith, who's a very well-known American organist who is often featured at American Guild of Organists conventions, and he played on 10 episodes of the American Public Media's Pipe Dreams broadcast, and he's known for commissioning and premiering works of arts by all sorts of composers. Now, but he's not playing alone. He's accompanied by a couple of people. Dawn Padula, who is a mezzo-soprano and the head of the vocal music faculty at Puget Sound, and by an undergrad, Jack Kuntz, a pianist who's going to graduate in a couple of years' time. So he'll be doing works by Brenda Portman, composer contemporary based in Cincinnati, Margaret Sandreski, the 100-year-old composer still going strong in North Carolina, Dmitri Shostakovich, and a world premiere song cycle by Rob Hutchinson, who's a member of the faculty at Puget Sound. So you might want to check that out. That's free of charge, and it's on the Puget Sound's own live stream website. And then finally, you can close off your evening but this is at the same time, so you have to make a choice. Composers Concordance, that avant-gardist classical / jazz / fusion / early music / electronic music group led by Gene Pritzker, is doing a memorial concert in memory of Sean Satin or Satan. I did not know him personally, but he was known personally and loved by a lot of people in that Composers Concordance group in New York City. Among other things, they'll be doing a song that Gene Pritzker composed called Song That Sean Liked for solo violin and sample straw. And it'll be a whole series of songs and poems being read by people like Robert C. Ford and people like Franz Hackl, the trumpeter composer from Europe, who founded the what's it called, the outreach orchestra and the outreach festival, will be participating in this. Here's a picture of Gene Pritzker on the left with Sean Satin, and here's Sean himself, just to give you a view of the person who's being commemorated for that. All right, that's what we have. This is like, you could start out at 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern Daylight Time and go through until 10 o'clock in the evening practically. And you could start out in Europe in the middle of your afternoon and go till very late at night. So I commend all of this to you. I hope you jump in on some of them. If you do, any of them that are on either YouTube or Composers Concordance is on its own. It's on its own Facebook page. And in case I forgot to underline it, it's at the same time as the Puget Sound recital, 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is 2 p.m. on the West Coast, which is when the Puget Sound recital is happening, 11 o'clock in the evening in Europe, or 7 in the morning the next morning, Monday morning, in Australia. But so much going on. And I've been saying for a few years that more and more places are doing more and more live streaming, and I'll be darned if it isn't true. So if you see us on that Facebook live stream or on any of the YouTube live streams, do jump into the comment section, say hello. I'm going to try to be there for all of them. And in any event, please do add us wherever you're watching us, or go on over to YouTube and add us, because we could sure use more followers on YouTube. I'd like to build that up. Maybe even this would get monetized someday, which would be super. Okay, ciao for now. Have a great Sunday. Bon dimanche, comme on dit à Paris. And I'll be back tomorrow with our weekly roundup at noon on the East Coast, 9 in the morning on the West Coast, and at 6 o'clock in the evening here in Europe.